when something is not funny, yes, you should bomb. I think that's what happens to comedians when they say something that's not funny. You're going to get a lot of flack. You're going to bomb. These are the things that happen to comedians. And it's a part of being a comedian is getting it wrong and getting the timing wrong and it being too early. And like, I think all of these things, a comedian knows when it's the right time. I think a comedian should know how to create a joke that's funny.
It's storytelling at the end of the day.
I mean, that's the kind of shit. That's the shit that lost Gilbert Gottfried his Affleck thing. You remember there was a tsunami, a bunch of people died in Japan. He made a joke about it on his Twitter. Man lost his job that day.
For our next topic, ladies and gentlemen, why is comedy taken so fucking serious? Are there comedians that are afraid of making jokes nowadays? That, you know, they're in fear that if they say the wrong thing, they can get canceled? Or is there jokes that have no limit? You should be able, it's a joke, you go there at comedy, you're there for that. Like, should there be no holds bar? What do you guys think?
I think that comedy's tricky, right? Comedy is tricky. There's an aspect of comedy that is about like pushing the boundaries and things like that. My understanding is comedy has always had kind of an unspoken rule that you punch up, you don't punch down. That's what a lot of like the comedic greats have kind of stuck to that idea. There's always been a place for edgy humor. We all grew up in the 90s. We grew up in the edgiest time for the internet, although it feels like on Twitter lately it's starting to get back to some of those 90s edgy times again. I think that there can be a place for edgy humor. It's not really my thing anymore. I'm in my mid 30s, man. I don't need just straight shock value in my jokes.
Yeah, I mean, I see it. I think that if you go to a comedy show, expect some type of reaction, I guess, or you know what I mean, like, because they're gonna say whatever they want to say. It's at the end of the day, you paid to go to hear that, see that. I don't think you should take it with a grain of take it with a grain of salt. Like, it's just don't be so fucking wrapped up into the emotions of it. Just I don't think that anyone's gonna go out there, drop N bombs, drop the F bombs, and white this, black this. I don't, but for the most part, I don't think you should take it to the heart. Joke. You come there to loosen up, take the edge off. If you think some of that stuff's not a joke, then I don't know. I don't know. We're raised differently. Nowadays, half the shit that was in movies back in the days was definitely not making it through today.
I mean, some shit changes a little bit, right? Because like before Louis C.K., before all his shit came out, right? I saw him at a comedy show, and I used to really, really enjoy his work. That show Louis was phenomenal. The show Louis was so fucking good. It had some really like good life lesson moments in there too. There's this bit where he's talking to I think it's his daughter, and she's complaining, why does she get one and I don't? And he gives this whole rant about how the world isn't fair. The only time you should look in your neighbor's bowl is to see if they have enough, not to see if they have more than you. And that's good. That's a good lesson. The man obviously had some insight. But in retrospect, some of the jokes that he would make about masturbating all the time and shit like that, they kind of make you wonder, like, with what came out, with the accusations that came out, with the shit that was confirmed, does this shit hold up? Do you want to hear like a known sex pest talking about how much he loves to masturbate?
Yeah, I think no person is gonna have a perfect back record. Like, I think everybody is gonna, I think the more exceptional someone is, the more they probably have to hide. It's weird. I know that sounds weird, but I think you're never gonna find someone that's famous that just has a perfect track record. And I think sometimes you have to separate the art from the artist and say he is talented, but he is very flawed. Like, we can separate the talent from the artist. And I think when you look at someone to be so perfect, I just don't know if that is how we should be going about, especially with this medium of comedy. I think comedy has changed. I also hate when people say this movie couldn't be made now. I think any movie could be made now, personally. If they say Blazing Saddles couldn't be made now, I think it'd be even funnier now. Because I think we've gotten past that point where anybody who's any legitimate sort of racist, like, I'll laugh at those people. There was parts in Django that I was just like, oh man, this is funny. And I shouldn't be really laughing at a lot of this, but I think we've gotten to a place where we realize like what is cool to be made fun of and what isn't. I think if you look back and look at black comedians in the 90s, Def Jam, Paul Mooney, I think you should go back and look at a lot of these. Paul Mooney, if you want to talk about edge, like that dude was saying shit that no other black comedian was saying. Black comedians would skirt the line of like, damn, this shit is racist, or they'll try to explain some sort, like Dave Chappelle did it good when he got stopped and they came to his side of the car to ask him, like, he's like, hold up, this man, he's driving, why you coming to my side of the car?
I mean, that Dave Chappelle joke that ends with I'm sorry, officer, I didn't realize I couldn't do that, might be one of my favorite jokes of all time.
Even some of Dave Chappelle shit, like now he gets some flack, you know, with the gay community, you know, that he got flack. And going off of what you're saying that it shouldn't be like that, or like movies shouldn't affect people like that from back in the days. And now it kind of still does.
I think that you can have opinions though, right? Because
yes,
Dave Chappelle has said some hateful shit. Also, I want to say, like, as part of my continuing argument about Pooch, about whether cancel culture actually exists or not, fucking Bill Cosby's about to go on tour, dude. He's going to go on tour this year. So tell me again how cancel culture actually exists, and it's not just consequence culture. That man apparently still has found some venues that are willing to host him. There's someone willing to back this tour. Like,
the talent is better than the artist. It's just they want to see what he has to say. I get it. They want to put him. If he wants to go on tour, I don't think he shouldn't. Especially in America, I don't think you should be stopped from going on tour. I think there should be people there with tomatoes, and they should throw those tomatoes when he gets on stage. I think there should be like, yeah, you want to go on tour?
That's so beast. I can go there with a crate of tomatoes.
Doe fixed comedy. Doe has fixed this whole question that Tony had. Comedy can talk. They can talk about whatever the fuck they want, and we're gonna stop harping on them. But we are all allowed to bring fruit and vegetables and shit to throw at them while they're on stage. We're taking it back old school.
Think about what Dave Chappelle just did. He brought Elon Musk on stage, bro. He's booed for like 15 minutes, bro. 20 minutes. You know, they would not let them get any jokes off. And then they ended up feeling some type of way about it. But it's like, really, bro? Like, some of this shit is tone deaf. And I think Dave Chappelle has ascended to a high enough place where he's probably becoming a little tone deaf. Either that or he wants to go into edgy, getting people mad kind of comedy. Like, there's this one guy.
It also could be that he doesn't give a fuck. He's at the point of life where he's already hit the top, and now he's just like, yo, I don't care. I'm going to say what I want. Feel how you feel.
There's a guy named Ari Shaffar. And I don't know if you remember, he made the video back in the day where it was like the American racist. He picked up a bunch of Mexicans and then drove them to the immigration office, and then they all hop out the back of the pickup truck. It was like a real edgy humor that it was funny for what the shit that was going on. It was actually legitimate funny. But also there's the timing of the joke. Kobe died. A week later or a few days later, Ari Shaffar was like, fuck Kobe. Yo, everyone hated him for saying that. Like a lot of his shit like got shut down because he said that. But what is comedy if you're not allowed to say shit like that?
So
I don't know.
you like edgy jokes, like internet jokes?
I think he was wrong as fuck for saying fuck
But you
Kobe.
found it funny?
But no, I didn't find it funny. I found more of like the American racist shit like to be more funny that was also a very long time ago. It was like the beginning of the internet, the beginning of YouTube and shit like that.
But nowadays you won't find that shit funny.
I mean, it depends. I think it depends. I think you only know if a joke is gonna hit by telling it. You can't keep the joke concealed. If the joke works, people are gonna laugh uncontrollably. Like they're not gonna be able to control. When you laugh, think about it. If something's funny, you can't really stop yourself from laughing.
So even if something happens, right? And you know how the internet, it's undefeated. Like something happens to a player, they post a little meme or thing and make a joke about it, and people hate it. Some people will find it funny, but they'll find it fucked up.
You're talking about that. You're talking about that Hamlin shit that popped up on the. Yeah, I saw that. I can't get behind shit like that, dude.
So that's what I'm trying to see. I'm trying to ask Doe, like, because you know me, I'm the big guy. I always say, where's the line cross? What's the cutoff, right? Because if we like edgy jokes, then that is an edgy ass joke. Like, I think it's a little too early, but I mean the internet.
I'm more on board with the fuck Kobe than like the making jokes about Hamlin at this point. Honestly, at least Kobe he's got some skeletons in his closet where like it's not necessarily fucked up to say that you have some problems with Kobe as a person. He's got that whole rape allegation bullshit from whenever the fuck, I don't remember how long ago it was. Man seemed guilty from like everything that I read on it. Yeah. So like I don't think that it's a completely crazy thing for someone to say, you know what, fuck Kobe. I don't give a shit about this guy just because he was a good basketball player. He's got this shitty thing that was very public in his past.
But he didn't find guilty for it though.
I think I would have to go and look. I just know that like it looked pretty fucking bad, dude.
Yeah, I would say adjacent to that, damn, I just lost it. It was another instance of almost the same thing.
Even the Bill Cosby jokes.
Queen Elizabeth, when she died, how many people were fucking slam dunking that shit?
Hard.
Yo, it fucking right away, bro. It was
we chanted USA on show.
I was just about to say like those shout out. They're all on the episode. Like
so. You got to think about it. I guess it depends on who it is and what's the severity of it.
The funny part is that they kept bringing her back like a respawn in Call of Duty. When you keep buying her back, bro. I'm sorry, it's terrible. It's edgy, but it's funny.
So I think are you wrong for laughing at that? I don't think you can be wrong for laughing. I think that's just a thing that naturally happens when something's funny. Now, when something is not funny, yes, you should bomb. I think that's what happens to comedians when they say something that's not funny. You're going to get a lot of flack. You're going to bomb. These are the things that happen to comedians. And it's a part of being a comedian is getting it wrong and getting the timing wrong and it being too early. And like, I think all of these things, a comedian knows when it's the right time. I think a comedian should know how to create a joke that's funny.
It's storytelling at the end of the day.
I mean, that's the kind of shit. That's the shit that lost Gilbert Gottfried his Affleck thing. You remember there was a tsunami, a bunch of people died in Japan. He made a joke about it on his Twitter. Man lost his job that day.
Gee, fuck. What? Hey, people are afraid.
But there's some shit like that though, right? Like, could you imagine if was Twitter around in 2001? I don't remember when the fuck Twitter started.
No, 2010, maybe 2009. Twitter started.
But let's say Twitter was around and fucking like when 9/11 happened. How many people would have made some fucking ill-timed jokes that would have gotten them in some hot water when that shit happened?
Yeah,
that's funny that you brought that up. Someone made a joke about about it at this bar one time. Some people there, some firefighters, I think they were firefighters because they had to be because they had tattoos and shit of their station. They were like, "You think that shit's fucking funny?" Like they had like a strong accent. I'm like, I had no part. I didn't know both parties. I didn't know anybody. I was just at the bar chilling, and they were just talking. It's just a joke, man. It's happened so many years ago. Fuck you. I had a family member this passed away, this and this and that. At the point that I'm trying to make is that it was a joke. It was funny. It wasn't a bad joke. It was a good joke. But I guess because he has ties in it, it didn't seem funny to him. But now if someone doesn't see it funny because they got ties to something, does it not make it funny though?
Well, I mean, comedy's subjective, right? So like, there's no
subjective.
like, there's not like, we don't have just like a comedy meter and everyone's rated on the same comedy meter because everyone's got their own individual like way that they gauge whether something's funny or not.
So would that make that person fucked up?
For me and for that person that was offended by the joke, absolutely. That was the most ill-tasting thing that he could have joked about there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there was a time where the internet was all crazy about like Holocaust jokes and shit like that, man. I don't think that shit is funny. I don't think that's some shit that we should joke about, like a mass genocide of a people. But that was some shit on the internet for a while, like especially back in the edgy early days of the internet.
Hey, I didn't know that.
A lot of military members share a lot of dark comedy with each other and shit that like memes and shit that you would be like, whoa.
Yeah, I mean, there's some jokes that I find funny, but
that's what I'm saying. It's just there's some really suggestive things. I think comedy is warped in that way. That is just.
I think if you're making a joke that is edgy and you don't gauge your audience properly.
Yeah.
So you say making a veterans joke or in front of a bunch of veterans is going to be a bad joke per se.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, I think it's very important for you to know your audience.
Read the room
But
shit.
I do think that there is an aspect of comedy that's about pushing the boundaries. Like you remember like the Stephen Colbert thing, man. They brought Stephen Colbert to the White House press, whatever the fuck, the press gala or whatever it is, and he just shit on everyone there, and that's kind of it. It was funny as hell to me. I'm sure that some more right wing people than me did not find that funny.
Yeah,
but I thought it was funny as hell.
He was one of the best. I mean, but in that era of Stephen Colbert, he was knocking it out of the park with that character, whatever that he was like a mock red, like a Republican show. It was fucking incredible.
Mm-hmm.
I actually miss those type of informative news comedy things that they don't really do it as good as anymore. If like ask me.
I'm curious to see where the Daily Show is going to go with their guest host and who they're going to bring on as their full-time host.
I think they should. I think definitely it should be somebody. It shouldn't be like. I don't think they should revert. I think they need to be open with their. I think it should be like an Asian dude now.
An Asian dude.
Yeah. I think it should be like an open seat, and I think
I do think though. Just to go back to the comedy shit, like Kevin Hart, he got a bunch of flack for his comments that he made. He lost a hosting gig.
Yeah, think about that. What that one girl and this guy, this Aries Spears, which is not really very popular, and then it was the girl.
Which one?
What's her name? She's super popular. They made a real pedophilic, like some real pedophilia content. Together.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, they made like a skit where wasn't it like a casting couch thing or some shit like that?
It was so wrong. It was so fucked up. And that shit was on Funny or Die for a long time.
And then people dug it up.
The mods didn't take it down. Like it must have, I guess, had some popularity back in the day that nobody saw this as an issue. But I think it was something called In a Pedophile's Eyes, and they kept playing R. Kelly, and they this little kid alone with this uncle figure, and then the uncle figure took off all his clothes and he was just in underwear, and they got him doing suggestive shit with toys, and it's a little kid, and they recently settled with the family and everything, but like this little kid should not have been included in this skit. And basically they keep replaying the song, "My mind is telling me no, but my body is telling me yes." Yeah, it was real big.
It came out last year, year before, or something like that. I remember chatting about it with you, but like
crazy.
Yeah, there's some shit like that where people just I don't know, dude. Like you can get into a weird headspace when you start doing this edgy humor. When you start thinking like everything is off limits in comedy, which I don't necessarily disagree with, but I think that there are really bad ways to approach that line of thought in comedy, and there's better ways to go about it.
Tiffany Haddish is the woman. There you go. That's who. It was Tiffany Haddish and Ari Spears were the big people behind that skit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I didn't even see this skit. That's crazy. I missed that. I didn't see
it's
any of that.
Real fucked up.
It's actually not a very funny skit either.
It's not funny. It's not anything.
Is it one of those you've been like? Is this one of those that you would look at and be like, "What the fuck were they thinking?" It's like one of those shits. Yeah.
Yes, it was way over the line. And I don't know how they thought that was gonna age well. Like I don't understand how they thought that this piece of comedy or whatever they tried to create was gonna even do. I'm like I said,
I don't even know. I don't know who the audience was for that. Like who were they making that for?
There was a place called Funny or Die. They had this big.
I mean, like who did they think was who was going to be laughing at that in their minds? Like they thought it was like everyone would be laughing at this. Did they view it as when you're doing like edgy humor, you kind of know who that's for, right?
You
like,
gotta be in a room with people too, though, so everybody kind of right. I would feel like a board meeting. You have to have everybody here, like, hey, we're gonna say this skit. You guys tell us what the fuck you think. Like, there's no you think there's a way that there's that whole group of people who are like, yes. Like, I don't think they're all.
It's like, but I mean, there is some. I don't know. Comedy is difficult, man, because there is some like shit that's kind of funny. Whitest Kids You Know did some really crazy skits, and they talked about some really like out there stuff, and a lot of their shit lands, and a lot of their shit still kind of holds up. Some of it's maybe not so much, but there is a space for it. There is definitely a space for it. It's just I don't know how you approach it. I don't know how you'd figure out like where exactly the line is, but I know that line exists somewhere.
Fuck. That's well. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, like, follow, share. We're on all platforms, audio only, video. Hit us with the share button. Like,